All right, welcome there, wherever you're watching us right now. It's from our studio live in Lagos, and this is CoolTV. Welcome to your program. This is Crossfire. I have Yemi Olakitan with me in the studio. My name is Dapo Banjo. Yemi, good morning.
Good morning, Dapo.
How are you doing today?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Good to have you back on the show.
Yeah.
Good to have you back on the show. How was the night?
It was great.
I mean, unfortunately, I thought the roads were going to be free yesterday. I mean, and interestingly, when I was going home, there was still heavy traffic on Third Mainland Bridge. And I'm beginning to wonder, did my able friend, did they leave town? Did they travel at all?
No, everybody traveled.
No, I mean, a lot of people traveled.
But I think people are coming back.
Oh.
That reminds me, you know what happened in Lekki yesterday?
Okay.
A petrol tanker.
Oh, yes, I saw it.
You saw it?
Very close to the toll gate.
And that caused a lot of traffic jam. People would,
But it should cause traffic coming out of Lekki, not going. It's just like Lagosians love to watch. We love to really watch and all of that.
The traffic was heavy.
It was really very bad.
Yes.
All right, we're not alone in the studio. We have a gentleman joining us, and we'll be running the show together. Let's welcome. It's a communication person. It's a public relations communications person, and as a political analyst, let's welcome Jermaine. Sanwoolu. Jermaine, good to have you in our studio.
To have you.
Nice
Thank
having
you. Very much. Yeah.
I mean, somebody saw you before we came into the studio and was telling you, where did you get that fine boy from? And I'm like, okay, I mean, good to have you in the studio.
Good to be
and
here.
compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season to you too.
Let's just do some business here.
Yes.
All right, let's quickly touch on some national matters as we bring you updates on some certain stories that we brought to you in the earlier part of the week. And then we take you through a few other trending stories. And so we quickly start from some stories that are making headlines, and the first on the list was what the Minister for Information talked about yesterday, that we have a lot of bombings still taking place, and young girls are actually used as perpetrators. And now the Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has come to really address the matter, saying the young girls are not even aware of what they are carrying. They take as low as 5,000 naira to their parents in the bid to be able to convince their young daughters to be able to carry these IEDs. Now, the federal government says most of the female suicide bombers being used by Boko Haram do not know that they are carrying bombs. Now, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said yesterday that when he paid a courtesy visit to the local newspaper in Ogun State. Now, Mr. Mohammed said, while reacting to the spate of bombings being perpetrated by teenage girls in recent times, he explained that the girls were usually given the bombs as a parcel to deliver in a busy place, while a man will stand at a distance to detonate the bombs. Now, the minister insists the federal government had largely won the war against insurgency. Now, the truth is just that Boko Haram has become, how will I put it, a case. A burden, let me put it like that, on Nigerians, not only on the government. And unfortunately, these young girls are so very ignorant. They are not even aware of, many of them are particularly not even sure of their gender, any longer, because of the type of things they've been exposed to, over time. Now you are using them to actually be, suicide bombers, and they pay them as low as like 5,000 naira. And because they are already indoctrinated, they just tell you, okay, you are going to be free finally. And you know the truth, ironically, they are being freed finally, even though they get bumped up and that's the end. And they tell them, okay, take this explosive, we're directing you, just give it to somebody and go home from there. And then innocently, these young girls picks up these IEDs, and then they go into a market, and they tell you, make sure, you are going into the market. And I still wonder how they get them really, really brainwashed, that none of them gets to find out that, okay, many that have gone, have they come back? Did you see them? Where are they? I mean, if I go back, since many that have left the camp, or the confines or the enclaves where they are being kept over a long period of time, have not come back. How come now you pick Aisha on a Monday, and Aisha left, and she never comes back. And then you come back and pick 3 or 4, and they never just made it back to the camp. The moment they're coming to pick you, you know that this is something that I bought. And the moment you are being told what to do. Something should, and that's why I keep wondering, do they think, these young girls, do they even have an opportunity to think about what they're doing?
Well,
Jermaine.
Well, I believe in, as Minister of Information, like Halai Mamayo said, is that we might have won the war, or we may be winning the war against Boko Haram on the physical terrain,
Exactly.
but the war that we're yet to win is the war on the brain, on the people that are on ground there. And that's what we need to understand, that public relations about the orientation. They need to start changing the mindsets of these people, you know, fellow Nigerians in the northern region. Because many of them, is the issue of lack of education. Okay. Being educated about terrorism, being educated about the dangers, and also if someone tells you to go and drop a package, you know that it is not the right thing to do. So I believe those ladies, and I know that in that area, in the northern area, the percentage of female empowerment and girl child education is kind of very low.
Very low.
So they need to start educating it. Working with the National Orientation Agency, they need to set up a public relations campaign that will go there, you know, to change the culture.
Do we have a National Orientation
Agency?
Agency?
We do have one in Abuja.
I thought that agency is gone moribund.
No, I believe it's actually
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, yeah. I think that agency has gone really moribund.
I think earlier in the year, I had some engagement with them, and they're quite active. They're doing some work, but maybe it's not as we expect, but I believe they are actually doing a lot of work on ground. And their work at this point in time has to do with crisis management, has to do with, you know, changing the culture and perception of those people in the northern region. Because these girls, 5,000 naira, giving them money to go and deliver a message, and they passed away. They say women are the future of our nation. They are destroying them one after the other. So education is key. You understand? Either it's Arabic or it's whatever kind of education. You have to pass across a key message to those people and tell them,
but you and I know, Jermaine, I mean, this is Nigeria, this is our country. We've been around. I don't know about you, but I've been here for quite a while. It looks as if you probably have spent some time out of the country.
Well, I live in the United Kingdom.
Okay, fine.
I visit here frequently.
I mean, but let me simply put it this way. Information management generally, especially when it comes to dissemination of those information. I haven't seen an agency in Nigeria that has taken it as a responsibility to put information out there. Yes. Virtually everything my children knows today were taught personally. I mean, I had to take time to inculcate some of these things into them by telling them, no, that is wrong. This is what is right, and this is what makes this wrong, and this is what makes that right. Right. Now, I have had an opportunity at a point in time. It was really bad. We were in a hurry. I parked on the other side of the road, and we had to go to, to the opposite side to get some things. And because I was afraid some enforcers may come and pick the vehicle, we didn't, cross, use the pedestrian bridge to cross over to the other side. So I was holding my son, to cross the express around, the K2 axis. And he waited for me to actually, get back into the car, and we're already moving. And then he just suddenly said that, we did what we just did now is really very dangerous. I said, what was that? I thought even it was the way I was driving. It now took me back that we actually crossed that express. I mean, this is a 9-year-old boy, calling my attention back that you have always told us that it is wrong to actually, cross the express like that where you have a pedestrian bridge. And so, I mean, I really felt bad. I don't know, at that point in time, what would you have expected me to say? to explain it away that, once in a while, son, you just do it. It will be totally against what I have taught him, over time. And that is exactly where I'm going, Jermaine. The northeastern part of Nigeria, like you said, the young girls, the female child, let me put it that way. Don't forget that we still have the female child, mutilation. We still have a female child. Totally, young marriage, exposed.
Almajiri system.
Exactly.
And the Almajiri system you don't want to go there.
Their rights have been
you don't want to go there. So let's talk about information dissemination. I haven't seen this agency coming out with visuals. Don't forget that our children today, they are very tech more than us. They watch more television than we did.
Yes.
They have a lot of platforms that they can actually learn many of these things, build electronic billboards and schools.
Yeah.
You know, we have the nursery, the primary. They spend longer time even in school than we did.
Yeah,
it was strictly primary school to secondary school, and we're gone.
And I believe we're in the information age. For there to be national transformation, it must be built upon the foundation of information.
Okay.
And I believe that Ministry of Information is key. And National Information Agency, you may be right that they're not really doing as we expect them to do. They need to set up campaigns to actually drive this thing forward. Now, for example, now as you said, there need to be repetition of information. They need to keep on pressing the message that this terrorism is wrong. You have rights, you know, to voice your opinion. You have your own basic human rights. And if they don't let these girls know, you know, they can start even in the schools. If it's Islamic schools, if it's in their mosque, if it's in wherever they gather, they need to start using leaders, community leaders, as mentors to go out there to start telling the people that, you know what, there needs to be a change of the orientation. I believe that the Minister of Information has his work cut out for him now. He really has to go down there and find the public relations campaign. And to employ people like us who understand these things and other professionals out there to actually plan a campaign to actually make this thing happen. Because it is essential. That is how we're going to win this war. That is how this nation is going to be built. We live in an information age. As you said, you know, your son, they go up and down on Google. They can search everything. But up there in the north, there may not be so much Google,
exactly.
internet,
those
and all that.
infrastructures are not.
But they have Radio Nigeria. Their radio is very predominant there. They read newspapers. So they have their town choirs. There are other methods when creatively deployed, they can use to educate the publics, educate the masses, and there will be transformation there because we need the northern region to be enlightened, and it can be like a Dubai, it can be like, you know, a UAE, whereby things are flourishing there.
Let me quickly come in there. You see, my own point is that everything we're seeing is just a failure of governance.
Yeah.
It's a failure of governance. One, because look at the educational system in the north. Do you understand?
Yeah.
We need
It's really backward.
Very, very. I mean, is it not backward?
Yeah.
We're complaining it's bad in the southwest. We're complaining that it's really bad in southwest. So you can now
because children don't go to school.
It's also culturally different.
You know, we need to make sure that all children are in school. Government need to be very involved in the education.
There is a child right now to education.
You know,
There is.
And I think
is it enforced?
Exactly.
So we need to eradicate the Almajiri system. What is Almajiri?
Yeah.
What is the meaning of Almajiri? It means beggars. Beggars, children on the streets. I mean, government need to be actively involved in education. Our security system, we need an overhaul of the security system. We need community policing, state policing. All these things need to be there. Another problem that is causing this problem, you know, poverty.
Poverty is key. Now, Jermaine, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Let's assume the three of us have an opportunity today to rehabilitate, because it's going to take it's just going to take a long period of rehabilitation for a typical northern girl, a Borno girl. Let me put it that way, a Maiduguri girl who has seen it all, non-educated, ravaged by insurgency, tricked into killing themselves and all of that. Let's assume the war against Boko Haram, actually we succeed. We meet the deadline, like government is saying, and and publicize, really making public now. Where do we start from? I have an access to Almajiri girl given to me to be rehabilitated. Where am I going to start from?
Well, it's a difficult thing here, but I believe that where we can start from.
I first will need, look at it this way. She speaks only Hausa. You are a Yoruba man or an Igbo man. Do you understand? You don't understand that language. So you first of all need to understand, deploy a means of communicating.
With about public relations, there has to be an element of cultural intelligence and local knowledge of the situation there. Now, we need to work with key stakeholders in the northern side, because we know that these Almajiris are, let's say, the lower class. There's a middle class who are educated, and there's also the
high class, supposedly,
people there. So what they have to do is that they have to take responsibility of these people, because the fact now there's no super that says
so it still has to be done. This will still have to be done by the people from the same culture and tradition.
Exactly, they know them. They have to work with them. They have to start signing them as mentors, develop non-governmental organizations. They have to be passionate, because the rich also cry. If they are bombing themselves, there's insecurity, they will not be safe. They will not be happy. They cannot spend their money there. So they have to say that Nigeria is ours. We have to take that responsibility, and they have to go out there. The females, the ladies, you know, you see the Buhari's daughters, you know, looking very beautiful, looking very affluent. They have to say, okay, let's set up something that would lead to education of the girl child.
It comes down to governance. You know, we don't have a
but it has to be civil responsibility too.
Proper federalism. We don't have. You understand? The states don't have their own police system.
Some geopolitical zones in Nigeria are more educated than others.
Exactly. We don't have
the Southwest seems to have a legacy in education.
And besides, even when you don't have security, how can you have education? Where children are afraid to go to school. Remember the Chibok girls. We need to, first of all, provide security.
It's good. No, Jermaine, seriously,
it's a complex.
Every time I think about it,
it's a complex situation.
It's almost looking like it's too enormous, you know, that anything can be achieved. Yeah. It's almost going to take forever.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
It's going to take time.
Let me tell you. Let me create a scenario before you make your comment.
Yes.
Let me give you a scenario. You have these children. They've been on the street.
Yeah.
Insurgency started. All of them are back in a camp called the internally displaced persons camp. Now, that is where they've been living for a while. They've been completely out of school. They have never, but some of them have never been schooled. Some who have had an opportunity to be in school I've dropped since the problem started. I've been living in the camp. I got an information recently that there's a form of education or a set of going up in the camp, you know, just to ensure that, okay. But I asked someone, I said, are you saying that a child that was in primary 3 before they moved to the IDP camp, are you saying that that child has been promoted to primary 4 or primary 5? Is there any promotion? Now, it's not enough to just keep them in a classroom and teach them the same thing over and over again. No assessment whatsoever to let the child get promoted, to confirm the for you to be able to say this child is making progress. So as far as I'm concerned, they are not being schooled. They are just teaching them stuff, as it were, because they do not belong to any school, you know, system. They are not following any syllabus, as it were. And so when eventually we are coming out of all this and we're saying, let them go back to their different localities. What becomes of this? I mean, how do we do that? Houses have been burnt. Schools are not there. There's no security because people are afraid to even go to school.
Exactly.
The question is,
they need to provide security.
Security now. Security will aid education, but the question now is that what is education? Okay, you know, who is educating? What is being taught? Now, the word education to educate, you got it from the Greek word, means educos, which means to draw out from within. That means something that is latent within you, bringing out to life. Now, there are some core values and culture within the Islamic northern state that they need to start, that we need to leverage upon. We may not be doing classroom learning. You understand? Whereby they go to primary 1, primary 2, but they can be educated within their culture, within their leaders, within their Islamic and religious leaders there, to teach them these new values. They have to be the drivers of this change. They have to be the stakeholders we have to engage. So education may not be what we call it, because, you know, in the 40s, before the British came and all that period, the northern part was quite educated. They were educated in Islamic rights and all that, Arabic. But, however, when it comes to Western education, they were not. They have not moved on with the trend. So they may not be educated as we are in the South, but they have an element of education. We now need to reorient them and give them a different perspective. We can't call that education.
No, you just call it literacy. They were literate.
They were literate,
they yes. And write Arabic.
So they need to be,
read,
you know, freshly educated.
You know when we say
encompassing, you have to develop them psychomotively.
Arithmetic is there, geology is there, political science is there, social studies is there, moral instruction.
And we have to look at that within the cultural context. You understand? Because if they are, because many of them there, you know, they reject Western education. You know, that's the problem.
Exactly.
Now, so how can we say we're going to impose Western education upon them?
Boko Haram that rejected Western,
education.
not the entire
No,
northern.
no.
northern.
I said-
so
no, I said
it
most
is
of
the
them.
responsibility of the government. They are not the government.
You see, the
government is,
the
that's why I
government
said,
can only pass laws.
No, the
There has to
government
be-
are to implement the laws they pass.
Yes, but we're saying that there
That's why
has to be
I said-
stakeholders,
No,
those leaders,
I said
to push
the
it.
law of governance.
All right.
Well,
all
I
right,
think
all
that-
right,
Well,
all right,
well,
gentlemen.
I believe so.
Government
All
must
right,
implement the laws it makes.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And in the word of, Jermaine Sanwoolu, he is of the opinion that it's a northern problem. And first of all, the northerners had to actually take responsibility. You see, because this language,
no
because if you
federalism.
take me there,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to definitely find it a lot. I mean,
It's
very
very harder for you
difficult
to solve.
to be able to just get across to, to a child. I mean, to a child girl.
Another child,
You
yeah.
know,
But
in the
you
north.
see, it's a northern problem, but it is a Nigerian problem.
It's a
too.
Nigerian, so
Nigerian
it will,
We
no,
need to
it's a
watch-
northern problem that will require a Nigerian solution,
Solution to solve it.
to
Because
solve
the
it.
Visit by northerners.
the kind of government we are
Okay.
running, everything come from the center.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where we are saying everything comes from the center. We have a policing system that all the police commissioners in every state answers to the Inspector General of Police.
Yeah.
Do you understand? No, I mean in the United States we even have police
We need to
in
decentralize
communities.
it,
in
yeah.
local,
Oh, all right.
We need to start from there.
All right.
I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah.
then. I mean, we will quickly go on a short break now on this story. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. We'll be right back.
So, did you like what you just saw? I know you did. It's very simple. If you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel right now.